All right. Sorry about the delay. Had to get my tea made. Hello, JR. Good to see you. JR, what do you know about Revelations as it pertains to what's going on now? So, my Illustrated Bible Dictionary, I do love my dictionaries, says that revelation is God's communication to people concerning himself, his moral standards, and his plan of salvation. God is a personal spirit distinct from the world. He is absolutely holy and is invisible to the view of physical, finite, and sinful minds. Hello, Tom. Is that a camel? A camel. So, although people on their own can never create truth about God, God has graciously unveiled and manifested himself to mankind. Other religions and philosophies result from the endless human quest for God. Christianity results from God's quest for lost mankind. I don't know. God has made himself known to all people everywhere in the marvels of nature and in human consciousness, which is able to distinguish right from wrong. Hello, Freebird. Because his knowledge is universal and continuous, by it God has displayed his glory to everyone. Some Christians think that only believers can see God's revelation in nature. But the Apostle Paul said that unbelievers know truth about God. The unrighteous must have the truth to suppress it. Romans 1:18. They clearly see it. Romans 1:20. Knowing God, they fail to worship him as God. Romans 1:21. They alter the truth. Romans 1:25. They do not retain God in their knowledge. Romans 1:28. And knowing the righteous judgment, moral law of God, they disobey it. Romans 1:23. The reason the ungodly are inexcusable, Romans 2:1, before God's righteous judgment is that they possessed but rejected the truth which God gave them. So, I don't know. I'm going to go back to the Antichrist, though, because a lot of people have been talking about the end times for decades, and I think there's something right about that. I mean, feminism is Antichrist. I think we can all agree on that. The Antichrist, a false prophet and evil being who will set himself against Christ and the people of God in the last days before the second coming. The term is used only in the writings of John and the New Testament. It refers to the one who stands in opposition to all that Jesus Christ presents. John 2:18, 22, 4:3, 2 John 7. John wrote that several antichrists existed already in his day. False teachers who denied the deity and its incarnation of Christ. But the supreme antichrist of history would appear at some future time. The Antichrist's primary work is deception, which also characterizes Satan in his attempts to undermine the work of God in the world. Satan's deception began in the Garden of Eden and will continue until the end of time. The dragon or serpent in Revelations 12 is Satan. The serpent mentioned in Genesis 3. Thus, the thread of Satan's deceptive work may be traced from Genesis through Revelations. That work reaches its climax in the Antichrist, who receives its authority and power from the dragon. The work of Satan through the Antichrist is clearly rooted in the prophecies of Daniel. Daniel spoke of the dreadful beast with 10 horns and 1 little horn. The Ancient of Days will kill the beast and throw it into the fire. Then, according to Daniel, the like of the Son of Man will receive the everlasting kingdom. The Antichrist will be the sum total of beasts referred to in Daniel. He will speak arrogance, and he will be aided by a false prophet who will make the entire earth worship him. So that's why I see this sea beast, I think, is feminism and the feminist cult. Because the beast from the land will make the entire earth worship it. So those who worship the Antichrist will experience certain doom through the wrath of God. The Antichrist makes war against Christ and his army, but he is captured and cast alive into the lake of fire burning with brimstone. Still waiting to see that happen. So I was waiting on Rusty. I sent him a link. Being since Johnny said he was a biblical scholar. You know what? I did think about this same video. I might play that while we wait. Because he's literally talking about vulnerable narcissists. And he does mention whores, so. I hope Sam won't mind me playing this. Because there's a crazy bitch that's waged war on Rusty Rivers. I don't think a lot of people are equipped to fight said beast or even recognize how evil this beast is.
If the narcissist is demonic and evil, guess who gets to be an angel and the reification of goodness? The victim, of course. The victim of narcissistic abuse. The victim of the narcissist. The victim is impeccable, immaculate, super empathic, angelic, flawless, blemishless. The victim is never responsible, never contributes to his or her own predicament. She is 100% white and the narcissist is 100% black. Now, ironically, this kind of thinking, known as dichotomous thinking, is a foundational pathological aspect of narcissism. Narcissists think this way.
Feminist.
Dichotomous thinking is founded on a primitive, regressive, infantile defense mechanism known as splitting black versus white, good versus evil, perfect versus imperfect, hot versus cold, splitting. Many victims split. They render the narcissist irredeemable and themselves the utmost form of perfection. Not perfection in the sense that they possess all the skills and talents in the known universe. That's not this kind of perfection, but moral perfection. They should not be held accountable for anything. They are not responsible for anything. They're not blameworthy. They had nothing to do with it. It was a force of nature brought on by Lucifer and his hordes. Narcissists are fallen angels or demonic spiritual entities or the embodiment of possession. This spiritual war, casting the relationship with the narcissist in terms of spiritual war, why do that? What does it accomplish except delusionality, hallucinations, and a pseudo-psychotic state? It pushes the victims into the realms of insanity. Why would victims render themselves insane in order to make sense of what had happened to them with the narcissist? Because narcissistic abuse is highly traumatizing, and because many people are weak, enfeebled by the relationship with the narcissist, or feeble-minded to start with. Many people are broken and damaged when they've met the narcissist. They were already vulnerable and fragile. The damage inflicted on them, the devastation, has been such that they chose to retreat from reality and to ensconce themselves in a fantasy, in delusions, even in hallucinations. But there are additional motivations. When you cast your relationship with the narcissist as a spiritual war, it makes you important. Your life, your existence matters. This is self-importance as a warrior in some kind of cosmic battle. You're on the forces of good against evil. So you aggrandize yourself. The concept of spiritual war with the narcissist is a self-aggrandizing concept. It renders your life meaningful because participating in a cosmic battle against the forces of evil has been at the core of many, many religions, Christianity not accepted. So this has religious overtones, and you are a kind of disciple or emissary, and definitely a fighter. You're fighting for the victory, the ultimate triumph of good over evil. That's point number one. Self-aggrandizement, grandiosity, a cognitive distortion, divorcing reality in order to feel good about yourself, to feel somehow elevated. You've lost control in your relationship with the narcissist. You were helpless. You were impotent. You've lost control over your life, your decisions, your choices, your friends, your abilities, your social network. Everything was taken over by the narcissist. And finally, the narcissist has absconded with your very mind through the process of entraining. Having lost everything, you want to reassert control. You want to regain mastery over your life. And one way of doing this is pretending or lying to yourself or deceiving yourself into believing that you are participating in some very important cosmic event and that it is your choice to participate in it and that you're in control of your life now, that you have taken mastery and now you're counter-attacking. It's always good to counter-attack. It feels good. It feels good because you're no longer helpless. You're no longer subject to the whims and predilections and proclivities of other people. You're in charge, at least of your own destiny. Reasserting control is the second motivation. The third motivation, shunning responsibility. If you cast your relationship with the narcissist as a spiritual war, and the narcissist is the prince of darkness, or at the very least, Darth Vader, what could you have done? You couldn't have done anything about it. And there was an asymmetry of power. So you're not responsible. You have contributed nothing to this. It's not your fault. You're not to blame. You're not guilty. You shouldn't feel ashamed. Casting your relationship with the narcissist as a spiritual war exempts you and exonerates you. That's a great feeling, because until you have cast it as a spiritual war, you had knowing doubts. You questioned yourself. You felt stupid. You felt, you were doubtful about your role in all this, and rightly so. So spiritual war is a cop-out. Oh, it wasn't a relationship with another human being, however flawed. It was a relationship with a demon. And after all, what could we, mere mortals and human beings, can do against the forces of darkness? Next is the feeling that you were chosen by the narcissist. Why were you chosen by the narcissist? Exactly because your very being and existence, who you are, your identity, reify goodness. You are good. You are an extension of the very concept of good. So the narcissist has chosen you because he spotted your essential goodness, because you're perfectly benign, caring, loving, super empathic, not normally empathic, but hyper empathic, super empathic. In short, you're an empath, and immaculate. You're immaculate, you're flawless, you're blemishless in this sense. Flawless and blemishless in the sense that your essential goodness and your overpowering empathy are perfect. So you are the reification of the principle of good, and the narcissist is the reification of the principle of evil, and your clash was inevitable. There was some inexorability. It was inexorable. There was some inexorability. There was some momentum that could not have been stopped or interfered with. You were the subject of a train wreck, the victim of processes much larger than you, even much larger than the narcissist, the cosmic war between good and evil, between God and Satan, whatever metaphors you want to use. So you were chosen. It wasn't accidental or incidental. You were chosen because of your essential goodness. That elevates you, of course. It's another form of self-aggrandizement. I'm all good. This is proof positive that I'm all good, that I'm perfectly good. So being chosen is a form of grandiosity, or believing that you have been chosen is a form of grandiosity. Of course, the narcissist didn't choose you because you're empathic or caring or loving or benign or compassionate or whatever, assuming that you are. That's also debatable. But even if you are, the narcissist hasn't chosen you for this. Narcissist couldn't care less about you. Narcissist didn't even notice your external separate existence. Narcissist wouldn't know empathy or love if they fell on his head. Narcissists don't do empathy. They don't do love. They don't do positive feelings. They wouldn't have. They don't understand this language. So they didn't choose you because of these things. They chose you because you supplied sex or services or safety. You agreed to act in the maternal role, or you provided supply, narcissistic supply, sadistic supply, whatever. Things, the narcissist chose you because what you could give him, because of what you did give him. And the moment you stopped giving, in his mind at least, it was over. Finally, a spiritual war implies that you are as pure as a baby. And this is not a metaphor or a simile. There is regressive infantilization here. The narcissist is a big evil daddy, a kind of inverted parental figure. And you are as pure as a driven snow, unadulterated as a child, as an infant. So a lot of regression, a lot of self-infantilization. Here's the truth about your relationship with the narcissist. You made stupid choices. There are two possibilities. You made stupid choices because you're inherently, innately stupid. You're simply dumb. Or you made stupid choices because you were at a moment in your life where you were distracted, you were damaged, you were broken, you were hurt, you were vulnerable, you were fragile, whatever. But you made stupid choices. These choices were your choices, and you're fully accountable and responsible for them. You were vulnerable. That much is true. You've been taken advantage of, very likely. So what? This is life. This is life. This is the guiding principle of life. It's known as evolution. It is your role to protect yourself. Of course, abuse is not justified. Of course, abuse should be penalized socially, criminally, and so on and so forth. That goes without saying. But on the other hand, you shouldn't exempt yourself from responsibility. You shouldn't exonerate yourself in your internal court. You've made stupid choices. You let down your guard. You absconded with your boundaries. You displayed your vulnerability. You invited abuse and so on. Learn a lesson from this. Don't ever do it again. To the narcissist, you were a service provider. End of story. Not a partner, not an intimate partner. Narcissists don't do intimacy. You meant nothing to the narcissist except as a service provider. As long as you kept providing two of the four S's, sex, supply, services, safety, as long as you provided two of these four, you were on, the job was yours. The minute you stop providing these, or the minute the narcissist has devalued you because of his own internal dynamics, it was over. You meant nothing to the narcissist because you have never existed externally as far as the narcissist is concerned. You were also utterly interchangeable. There was nothing about you that was unique, irreplaceable, super special, amazing. Narcissists don't see people this way. Narcissists ask themselves, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? And the things that you could supply the narcissist, the things that you did supply the narcissist with are replaceable, are interchangeable. There are many competitors out there, and the narcissist is not averse to placing himself up for auction. So don't kid yourself, don't aggrandize yourself. You are not chosen, you are not special even. You are nothing to the narcissist. As meaningful as his internet service provider, for example. And as he would not have hesitated to switch internet service providers with a deterioration in service, so he did not hesitate in dumping you and exchanging you for someone else. You have to learn these hurtful and difficult lessons if you want to move on and never repeat the same mistakes again. Casting yourself as the eternal victim and describing the relationship as a spiritual warfare, these are cop-outs. These are cop-outs, and they would lead you nowhere. They would mislead you. They would guarantee that you will fall victim again to exactly the same type of person, the same circumstances. Don't make this mistake for your own sake.
If only the feminists could ever look at their part in anything. Yeah, sorry, Johnny. Well, I dropped the link for Rusty to join the panel. I don't know, Billy, do you want to hash out our little disagreement? Which came first, the chicken or the egg, between the feminists and the narcissists? Because I think we're pretty opposed to which came first, and also the solution, how to handle feminists who are literally destroying men in our society. Like what he just said about narcissists is totally true. It can also be true about feminists, because feminists are narcissistic psychopaths. Like, there's a gentleman that I know of that's literally in the midst of a crazy bitch smear campaign, a war that one of these feminists has waged against this specific man. And yes, her abuse really needs to be sorted out criminally, because what Beth Undefeated is doing is absolutely fucking criminal. She is a criminal. That crazy bitch is a criminal on so many different levels. She was able to actually she's also holding a man hostage, mind you. She is holding a man hostage. A certain Sonic Viper, which probably feels in her debt because she helped him attach himself to the government. No, you can't control a smear campaign. But what you can do is not take part in it, not perpetuate it, not platform one of these emotional terrorists, not join forces with one of these crazy bitches in her attempts to destroy another man. Yeah, JR, she's working on getting her, she's using Bullet's channel as a recruitment area because she's allowed. So, well, he is the perfect victim for a control freak feminist. Hello, Rusty.
Hey, I finally made it. I'm using a strange phone right now, and they didn't have it set up to even come on to StreamYard, so I had to sit here and finagle around with it.
Yeah, that's all right. What do you know about these end times? Johnny said I should talk to you about Revelation.
Well, I think I'm probably in the minority as far as the school of thought that I subscribe to. Okay. I would say the vast majority of modern day Christianity looks at the book of Revelation as some sort of prediction, forecast, and warning for the future that somehow over the last 2,000 years just has not come to pass. Right. Now, it is true that a lot of the things that John wrote about in Revelation have yet to come. But one of the words that's translated in Revelation, probably more so than any other word, is quickly. And you'll see that word in Revelation frequently, that this is going to happen quickly. Jesus is coming quickly, and the time is nigh, and it's later than you thought.
Right?
Yeah. My interpretation of John's writings can be summed up. I think it's in either the first paragraph or the second paragraph, which is the introduction to Revelation, and the main key to understanding what John was actually writing about is the phrase And these writings or these sayings or these words are to signify. And signify is another word for symbolize. And
Right.
so most of the writing in Revelation is very symbolic. You have to keep something in mind that John was kind of like in a situation like Napoleon. You know, Napoleon was exiled to the Isle of Elba. John was exiled to the Isle of Patmos. And so
Okay.
he was always concerned that when any of his writings would be intercepted by the Roman Empire. And so most of it is allusions, metaphors, similes, all this symbolic imagery.
Yeah.
And basically, John was describing his own time during the Roman Empire and the immediate future of the Roman Empire where Christianity was concerned. But yet, there still are some things that are yet to come.
Like what?
Jesus Christ returning.
So
The
is
second
that
coming.
that supposed to be, because I've heard other people talk about Christ consciousness as opposed to like a man coming, like an individual man.
Well, I suppose that somebody could interpret some of the writings like that. But by the way, if I was organizing the books of the Bible, I would not have put the book of Revelation at the very end. It's not the end. Actually, Paul actually describes the very end in it's Ephesians or I can't remember exactly. Corinthians, I think it's Corinthians. But modern day scholars of the Christian church, most of them agree that it's going to be a physical embodiment, of Christ returning. And that has yet to come. The lake of fire has yet to come. The white throne judgment, or God's judgment into the earth, has yet to come. Those things have not happened yet. And every age sees the signs that it's almost here.
Right.
For the last 2,000 years.
Right. Right.
Yeah, people have buried themselves in caves, because it was coming tomorrow.
Right. I know, Johnny. Volcanoes, lake of fire, have not come yet. Me and Johnny have this idea about volcano therapy. But I have a question. So with Christianity, do you identify yourself as a Christian?
Absolutely.
Okay. So something I understand from Christianity is, the whole humility thing and confessing thing and taking responsibility thing and then asking for forgiveness stuff. Like, I feel like that's kind of a Christian value, right?
Yes.
Okay. So
for individuals, the state and government in ruling bodies are treated a little bit differently.
Okay. How are those treated?
It's the difference is authority.
Okay.
Yeah. God sets up a hierarchy. He expects us to follow it. Yeah. He's at the very top. Yeah. There are certain ruling bodies, that's recognized throughout the Bible, where they're able to wage war. They're able to put somebody under the knife.
Right.
But when it comes to the individual, it's a little bit different.
Yeah, it's just it's interesting listening to a lot of different people's take, like what you mentioned before about the symbology and the metaphors and all this other stuff. I feel like a lot of people are trying to communicate stuff that's going on using that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like for example, there's this one part in Revelation where it says, "And I stood on the edge of the sea, and behold, I saw a great beast rise up from the sea, and on its head had the three horns, and on each horn was a blasphemy against God." And then somebody said, "It's a submarine! It's a submarine!"
Right.
You know?
Right. Yeah, that sea beast. That's what I've been particularly looking at, the beast from the sea. Like, I see that as the feminist cult. And I've been seeing the beast from the earth as being the land beast and the psychology field, because I feel like that's where the feminist cult gets their power. I mean, all throughout government, obviously, but it seems like psychology is attached to every part of government, and it influences government to worship the queens. I don't know. That's just an interpretation that I've had in my head lately.
Oh, I'm drinking coffee, by the way.
Oh, nice. By the way.
Yeah, and if anybody hasn't heard, I quit drinking and I quit smoking.
Nice.
I kind of figured that, if you find yourself wandering into a drag show, that's a huge wake-up call. You better stop drinking.
Yeah, that seemed like a setup to me.
Well, it probably was.
Yeah. How are you doing, by the way?
I'm doing really well. Really well.
Good. Good. In the midst of a crazy bitch smear campaign and all?
Yeah, I reckon so. I try not to pay attention to it. But, you got all the guys, they'll clip something and they'll send it to me in the text, and, so I have good days. You have bad days, some days I'm really happy and enthusiastic. And then some days I'll just shake my head and say, gosh, darn it. I can't believe this happened to me, so it's up and down, and I just try to do the best I can.
Yeah. What do you think about what, quote unquote, happened to you? Like, what does it feel like?
Well, I kind of put some thought to this. You got different levels. It's like, and discussing like red pill stuff and circumstances, what I call like average normal stories that you hear from the guys all the time. A woman betrays them and packs up and leaves them. Well, that happened here, but then you got the extra one where it was a friend that she ran off with your friend. And there was a conspiracy involved, deception, 10 swords in my back.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough to wrap your mind around, to say to yourself, how did I go from here to here? Mm-hmm. What happened? And I don't know. I guess it's all part of God's plan.
That's what you're chalking it up to? God's plan?
Well, yeah, ultimately, yeah. I guess so. I mean, what else can I do? I'm certainly not claiming victim status here, and I'm certainly not claiming to be Mr. 100% innocent. I'm sure I did a lot of stupid things. Like I probably drank too much, Yeah. Now, I've heard her complain about that online. I never heard her complain to my face. I guess that right there, GM, is probably one of the biggest things I've been really trying to wrap my mind around. You know, when she left, even though it was a bad situation, even though I knew she was running off with Viper, you know, even though I knew, you know, she probably was going to try to keep all the real estate money from the deal I put together, you know, even though I knew all that, there was no fighting. There was no, you know, super animosity. I mean, I even helped her load up, you know, her van, you know, and wished her the best. And then a week later, bam, it's like a totally different person I was dealing with. It's like a mask fell off. And it's like I started hearing every single complaint. Like, oh my God, why didn't you say anything to me at the time when this was going on? You know? And, you know, and then hearing things like, she doesn't know if I have cancer. I mean, my goodness. I mean, that's one of the things that that she really did for me. She really cared for me. She would massage my tumor, you know, because it would get to hurting when I would lay down at night. You know, she could feel it in her hands.
Yeah.
And then to come online and say that, well, I don't know if he really is sick or not. I mean, that just blew me away. It's like everything, like I don't have houses. I don't have rental properties. I don't have a boat. I'm poor. I'm living in my truck. I mean, my God, the list, you know, I subsist. What's the word I'm looking for? I lived off of her. You know, all these things have just totally just blown me away.
Yeah. That's how resentful crazy bitch smear campaigns work. They throw the things out there to try to get you to adjust your behavior so you have to defend yourself. Like it's a game. Like there's always going to be some truth to what they say, but it causes you to react.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and listen, I don't care how red pill you are. You're not immune to this.
Right.
You know, I was as red pill, you know, as you can get, and you know, and it happened to me. I did eventually catch on. You know, and by the time, I mean, I knew basically like the last couple of months that we were together were, you know, what was going to happen.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, if I could have done things a little bit differently, go back in time, I think I would. You know, I made a lot of mistakes.
What would you do different?
Well, you mean besides pursuer? I don't think that I would. I should have quit drinking a long time ago. I hadn't had a drink in like 25 years. And that's when I initially got out of prison. Because alcohol played a really big role in why I went to prison in the first place. And so when I got out, I didn't have anything to drink. And then about 3.5, almost 4 years ago, when the tumor, you know, came on, and the pain was horrible. And, you know, I tried taking pain pills in the beginning, and that just complicated things with what was going on with me. And so I couldn't take pain pills.
Those things back you up big time. I have a client who just finally got off of them, and after a bunch of surgery and stuff, like it shut down her digestive tract, like, and blocked her up, which made her problems worse. Like,
yeah. So I started drinking.
Yeah.
You know, and the drinking, you know, for my condition, I can't hardly eat any solid foods. So the drinking helped keep my weight on. Also, because of my condition, the drinking kind of acted as like a natural laxative to help me out. And it was a mild sedative throughout the day. And I think I just got used to it, and I just kept drinking more and more, you know. So, you know, it was never, you know, I never became abusive or anything like that. When you know, I was always a happy drunk, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's probably if I could go back in time, I would stop my drinking. I'm glad I have now. It's funny how out of something bad you could start getting something good.
Yeah.
And so I've been taking natural supplements to help with the pain and everything instead of drinking. I'm not smoking anymore either, because if I drink, then I have to have a cigarette. If I have a cigarette, then I have to have a drink.
Right.
So I'm doing some dipping now. That's what I have done for, you know, 25 years, is just do a little dipping, you know, with some tobacco, and that's about it. I'm eating healthy. I'm working out with weights, and you know, everything's doing good. I got so much energy. I feel so much better. I don't have nightmares anymore. I'm able to sleep. Things are really good health wise.
Good. That is good. Where did you guys meet?
Facebook dating.
The devil's playground.
Well, you know, I'm trying not to say anything too disparaging, but it almost seems like she's replaced Facebook dating with the manosphere now. You know, yeah, I'm the idiot responsible for bringing her in and introducing her to the manosphere. And then after she was done with me, you know, she took up with another man from the manosphere, Sonic Viper.
Yeah.
While we were together, you know, she was you know, hitting on Lord Jeremy. I was told AKS swears that she was hitting on him. And now I was listening to Kush, and Kush was saying that she was hitting on him, wanting to hook up. So I don't know what to believe. You know, I really don't. I guess I wasn't enough.
Well, honestly, I don't think any man's going to ever be enough. I mean, deep down, fundamentally, she has daddy issues. So no man is safe. Like,
look, I've been really praying hard, GM. I really have. I went to church for the first time in a very long time, and I don't even think I completely tuned out what the preacher was saying. I just prayed the entire time that I was there, and I've been doing a lot of praying. And you know, seeking God's assistance. You know, I can't do this on my own. I'm powerless. And you know, so you know, I'm seeking help.
that's good. So are you going through the 12 steps?
Oh, no.
No?
No, I'm doing this just like I did it last time. Cold turkey, I'm done. When I think about alcohol, I get sick to my stomach now.
That's good.
So I figured that if I was good for 25 years not drinking, I should be good until the good Lord calls me home from this point forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I wish you speedy recovery. You look better. You look like you're feeling better.
I am. I really am.
Yeah. Yeah, you kind of scared a lot of people with your with your diagnosis, and kind of went a little bit downhill.
I 2 weeks ago, or was it 2 weeks ago? I think it was 2 weeks ago. I started my my treatment again. back at the USA Mobile, the university. It's called the Mitchell Cancer Institute.
Mm-hmm.
And I took my first MRI in about a year and a half. That's the last time I had the MRI. And they said that the tumor has shrunk just a little bit, about 2 credit cards stacked on top of each other. But that's good enough for me.
That's progress.
Yeah. And the next step, and I'm waiting for them to call me back. In fact, they were supposed to call me today, so I'll call them first thing in the morning. They're going to put me in a CAT scan machine, and they're going to be watching the screen, and they're going to go in, and they're going to take take samples as live as they're watching it on the screen. And so we're gonna take some more samples and see what's going on with it, and then they're going to recommend some different treatments. Now, I was told by the radiologist that treated me with radiation the first time. He said, I told him, I said, "Hey, can we do this again?" He said, "Are you kidding?" He says, he says, "You have no idea how much radiation I put to you." He says, "If I give you any more radiation, you're dead, dead, dead." It's like, okay. So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you have a plan. You're doing well considering the chaos.
Yes.
Yeah. Taking it one day at a time.
Yeah. And I've been able to, I got a lot of free time on my hands now, it seems like these days. And I've been spending it with my grandchildren.
Good.
Yep. They come to visit me and everything. I just bought a new place here in Bay St. Louis. And it's the front is like 2 Airbnbs. It's like a duplex. And it has an owner's suite out back. And that's where I'm at right now.
Nice.
And yeah. Yeah, it's so funny. My ex-girlfriend thought that she inventoried me.
Yeah.
And even drinking and not really exhibiting a lot of common sense, I did have at least enough common sense not to show all the cards.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
It's really good. Yeah, I mean, I've been watching her. She's actively trying to destroy you. I mean, I'm sure among what she does in real life, but like what she does online is fucking ridiculous. Like, she's desperate for something. She is.
I don't.
Desperate.
A lot of people have asked me, "What did you do? Where's the $64,000 question? Where is she pulling all of this motivation from?" And the only thing I really keep coming back to is I think that she feels as though she got rejected.
Yes.
Towards the end of the relationship with my ex-girlfriend, I had a lot of run-ins with my ex-wife. And Sonic Viper used to drive me around to a lot of different places, and I would take him and stop by my ex-wife's house and fix her pump, and I would stop by this family's place, and I would stop by and see my grandkids. And there was my ex-wife come pulling up in the driveway where me and the ex was living at in my house, and the thing is that I always told my ex-girlfriend that, listen, my ex-wife is very jealous, and that's where I get my insurance from, is from her, through the divorce. Yeah. As long as I pay for it, she provides it through her employer because she works for the state.
Yeah.
And I told my ex-girlfriend, I said, look, I don't want my ex-wife finding out about us. because I don't want to lose my insurance.
Right.
You know. Well, anyways, of course she found out about us, and you know, she did get jealous and everything. But you know, to my shock and all, you know, she felt sorry for me. She did. She's like, let me get this straight. She ran off with the homeless guy that you rescued from the street, that you housed for 7 months and was helping out. And I was like, yeah. She's like, damn. She said, ain't karma a bitch? She says, that's what you get for running around on me.
You know what, though? I don't know. I worry. I'm concerned for Sonic Viper. I mean, that kind of like super controlling crazy bitch needs to have a man like to oppress in her life. Being since you weren't it, I think she took the next best thing. Like, I don't know that he's in a good state.
I don't know. You know, maybe they are a couple made in heaven. This was all preordained, and this is the way it was supposed to be. I have no idea. Mm-hmm. You know, all I know is that, you know, I have a very overbearing, charismatic personality most of the time, because I'm used to being the boss. And when you have a partner and she's a woman and she exhibits some of those same things, you know, the next thing you know, you feel like, wait a second, why do I feel like I'm in competition? Yeah. You know, why do I feel like there's some jealousy involved here somewhere? You know, I felt that on a lot of occasions. And if I had been sober, I probably would have seen more. And who knows, you know, how this all would have turned out if I had been, you know, not drinking. You know, a lot of things got past me. There's no doubt about it. You know, and look, I'm not here to beat her up or anything. You know, like I said, you know, I'm sure that there was a lot of different things that I did that were wrong. I'm sure there's a lot of things I did that, you know, if I had clear vision, I probably would not have done, would not have said. My main weapon is my mouth. You know, I'm not a physical person, you know, when it comes to, you know, dealing with a woman. But clearly something happened. I think I detected a change right after I got her house sold. And by the way, you know, I really wish she would give me some credit. You know, I organized that whole entire deal. You know, found the realtor, organized the whole entire deal. The original realtor that she was dealing with was incompetent and wound up having to fire her. I got a hold of a new realtor. You know, I worked on her house, roofing work, electrical, GFIs, carpentry, you know, cement, masonry, pressure washing, you know, painting. I mean, the whole 9 yards. You know, and in the middle, you know, towards the end there, when we were trying to have to paint the outside of the house because of the VA rules, you know, my tumor flared up. You know, and I had to stay on my ass. And she mentioned that to me later on. She resented me, you know, for not painting more. And I didn't understand that. You know, that was one of the main things that I felt as though, you know, like she was the one, you know, because she had experience with her husband, who died of cancer, and taking care of him. And, you know, I felt, you know, kind of like a bond with that, you know, because it's very difficult, you know, if you haven't been through it, you know, especially me, you know, when I stand up or sit down or whatever, you can't tell that there's anything wrong with me, you know, and, you have to have a lot of insight and information and know about this kind of stuff, you know. And I thought that she did. And but right after she got her house sold, you know, that's when I think that like everything changed. You know, like in red pill theory, like you could have a couple married, and you know, one day the wife gets this big promotion and this big raise and everything, you know, and then within 6 months they're divorced. You know, I almost feel like that, you know. So, you know, the ex-girlfriend got a pretty good sum, you know, and I think that's when everything changed. You know, I wasn't good enough anymore, I guess. You know, I don't know.
I wonder how stuff like that affects disability checks. I know because my mom used to do some crazy shit to get chunks of money, and she always had to hide it from, like, because she got a government check. She lived off the government. So
yeah,
I know that's no different than Beth. I remember her telling me specifically that she was never going to get married because she'd lose her money, which is really taxpayer money because she sucks off the government tit. But my mom always saw it as her money too because she got it, which was always so fucking weird.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot to be said about the disability angle where the X is concerned. And I'm sure that you know, we will hear more about that to come.
Yes.
You know, and I just like to take the opportunity to tell a couple of gentlemen that you know, she has made friends with. You know, we you know, we had a breakup a while back, and you know, prior to this, and the very first thing she did was she come running to UGM.
She did.
She was under the impression that somehow you and I were enemies, and so you were the very first person she came to. And now that we broke up again, she's done the same thing with these two gentlemen because she knew that that technically speaking, we were enemies. You know, I didn't like them; they didn't like me. Yeah. And
enemy
you know,
of my enemy is my friend.
Right.
Yeah.
And the only thing that I would say to them, you know, and you know, and I'm not trying to bash them, you know, or say something, you know, disparaging. I'm speaking from my heart. You know, I could listen to each one of, you know, to each of them, you know, and they could give a monologue about the gynocentric landscape, the gynocentric system, the industrial complex that's set up to favor women, how women weaponize the legal system and put men through the grinder, and you know, and you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm sitting there and I could be listening to each one of them, and I'm agreeing with them, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the next thing I hear, and now we're going to call up Beth to the panel. And I'm like, wait a second. You just got done describing exactly what she is doing.
I know.
And so I say this sincerely to both of them. Please reconsider. Just that's it. Just reconsider.
Yeah. Billy said, can I drop on panel to wish Rusty best of luck with recovery? That's up to you, Rusty.
What, to bring Billy up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, it's funny when I see what Bullets and Kush are doing right now. I'm like, it seems like they're perpetually stuck in proving my point mode. Like, it's almost like I talk about these crazy bitches and everything that's wrong with them. Then they talk about, you know, the gyno judicial system and all that kind of stuff. And it's almost like they're collecting these perfect examples of what's wrong with our society. Like, it's so weird.
Well, I'll tell you another thing too, GM.
Mhm.
You know, the longer and I listen to Bullets, you know, every once in a while, especially, you know, if I know it's going to be about me, I'm not going to hide that. I know everybody likes to say, oh, I don't listen to them and I don't pay attention to them. And somebody told me this. No, you know, no, there's no use in being ashamed of it. Yeah, I'll listen, especially if I think it's going to be about me, you know, and I think that's being very honest. And let me just say that I think Bullets and I have a lot in common. I mean, from the music that he likes and the you know, the different hobbies and things he talks about, you know, I really do wish we could be friends, you know, or at least not enemies.
Yeah.
You know, and on that note, let me also just say that, you know, I do regret saying things. I do regret taking you know, certain actions and stuff like that, you know. And I remember when you was playing that original clip where I came on and I was talking about Angler and trying to, you know, say, you know, look, he may be not doing right, but we're not going to abandon him, you know. And you know, this is what we're supposed to do over here, you know. We're supposed to help one another, you know. And I really would like to see, you know, everybody just stop. You know, stop with the memes. Stop poking fun at each other. Stop doing this. Stop doing. Let's get back to business. Let's get back to helping out men.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of hurt feelings regarding injustices that men have done to each other.
Oh yeah, yeah, and look, I'm one of them. I mean, I got just as many complaints as the next guy does. You know, we all got complaints. You know, we're all right and we're all wrong.
Right?
You know?
I know. I say that all the time. I'm like, all these guys have most everything in common. Then I see these crazy bitches getting them to fight. And it's like, where's the humility and being humble enough to be like, okay, I was wrong. Maybe I shouldn't have, you know, accused Kush of being a fucking pedophile and gone on a witch hunt. Like, there's responsibility that needs to be taken in all the camps.
And I'll tell you another thing too on that note before I forget, GM. And once again, addressing the gentleman. Guys, you know, you've been making a really big deal about convicted felons. Now, I have come into this space and I never hid the fact. I talked about me going to prison, you know, when I was, you know, I got in trouble, you know, between 19 and 20 years old. 35 years ago. 35 years ago. I'm 55.
Yeah.
Okay. Guys, I don't know if you know this or not. You know, like I heard one of you or both of you talking about how our side, the Nistals, you know, we're catering to convicted criminals, to convicted felons, and, you know, we're fostering them and holding, you know, and all sort of stuff. And you know what? I mean, as far as me and Hermit, I mean, we're the only two that I know of, but I'm sure there's probably more, like you say. I don't know. But gentlemen, Beth Undefeated is a convicted felon. I don't know if you guys knew that or not. She is a convicted felon. And I'm not saying that to put her down. In fact, I'm going to put a twist on it. That is another reason why I thought she was the one for me, because I'm a convicted felon. I carried that with me. I've been through the hardships with that. It's one of the reasons why I had to start my own business and go my own way, because nobody would hire me. And then she was a convicted felon and still is. We're both convicted felons.
You know what, though? There's a difference between getting drunk and being stupid in doing something and then a premeditated thing that it can't be the first time That it was just the first time she was fucking caught doing her felony.
That's possibly true.
Yeah.
I will say this, and once again, I'm not trying to start any trouble or anything, but I'll say it again. My felony conviction was 35 years ago, gentlemen. Beth Undefeated's felony was barely 5 years ago. She was at the age of 50 when she got arrested. 50 years old.
Yeah, well, she was happily married, wasn't it? She was committing felonies. All right. Billy just joined. I'm gonna go potty real quick. I'll be right back, okay? Billy.
Well, thank you, GM, for allowing me to pop up. I'll just be a moment. Thank you, Rusty, as well, for allowing me to have a word to say. Good on you with your recovery. It sounds like you've got things under control as well as can be expected. And I wish you all the best going forward with that.
Thank you, sir.
And onwards. So I have a feeling if you keep everyone updated with how things are with you, it will be very inspiring and motivating for other men listening.
Yeah.
So on behalf of everyone, thank you.
Oh, listen, I fucked up in a lot of ways. Bullets and Kush calling me out, as being a hypocrite about, MGTOW and living with a woman. I mean, they were spot on, I fucked up. What can I say? I think that it's a good policy to try to tell the truth as best as you can. And when you're at fault, admit it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And if there is ever to be changes, then the acknowledgement of where people go wrong or where we go wrong, or myself included, is how you get the awareness to make those changes happen. Whereas if you deny it and pretend, you're just lying to yourself, you make it worse.
Right.
So honesty, truth, acknowledgement, responsibility, accountability, these are, I think, underappreciated sentiments or, like wording. It's very easy to say, oh, I'm going to be accountable. But when it actually comes down to being accountable, it has a whole different meaning.
Well, I'm trying to hold myself to an account. I appreciate input, from my friends, and I also appreciate input from people who are not my friend. Sometimes you get a more honest assessment from people that just don't like you than you do from the ones that do.
Exactly. Yeah, and it helps when you can take that constructive criticism in a kind of objective lens.
Right.
So you have to try and not, it might feel like you're being personally attacked, but try not to feel personally slighted by it.
Yep.
And another one as well, like some people's approach to enlightening other people can be a bit harsh. They might call it the brutal truth or something. So they don't know how to sugarcoat it. But
yeah.
And if things go well, because you mentioned a few moments ago how you want to get back to business with the men's community. So if we as a community get past some of this superficial shenanigans, because at the end of the day, it does, when you have the broader perspective, you'll realize that, oh my God, all of this was over some silliness, emotions, and just desire or lofty, dreamlike wishful thinking. then yes, get down to business. The real work can then be done. It would be hard work. It's deep work. It would be what I would consider as black pill, but it will help to answer some of these observations people have, like, for example, the obsession with women, which will explain why there are such contradictions. Like, how is it MGTOW is supposed to be nothing to do with women, but yet there is an obsession with women? Well, there is a reason behind this, but I don't think people are ready to hear just what that is yet.
Well, I think our side gets blamed for going through the divorce grinder and coming out the other side, hating women and stuff like that. And I suppose that that's probably in general true if you go through it and you first get out and everything. Like for me, I've been divorced, over 5 years now. And, I get along with my ex-wife, both of us have made amends and, for the sake of the grandchildren. And, I certainly don't hate women. Shoot, I'm paying the price right now because I didn't hate women. I was living with one. But, and even though there is some bad circumstances surrounding this particular situation, where you got a friend that ran off with your woman, that could lead to a lot of like losing faith in humanity or abandoning your fellow man and stuff like that. I'm not allowing that to happen to me. Yeah, it was bad. This was Judas and Brutus. Betrayal is the most horrific, most horrible thing that could happen to somebody, and how you deal with it, it determines the strength of your character. And I'm trying to deal with it as best as I can. And I'm not going to lie and put on a fake face and say that, man, I'm doing great and everything's fine. And it's like, no. It's from moment to moment. An hour from now, I may be, incredibly depressed, but I know that I'm going to come out of it. And I know that there's a brighter day, tomorrow. And I'm just trying to focus on the good and try to create, some meaning, for me personally, out of this experience.
Yes. You are speaking as if you've read the books on the recovery, so you are on the right trajectory, definitely. And yes, you're right. You take the emotions as they come in waves, allow it to process, don't deny it, acknowledge them, and above all else is be responsible for them. The point about the running off and the betrayal with a friend, you probably already are aware that it's not a unique scenario. It happens very often.
Sure.
Very common. So there is a temptation to like ruminate and wonder and ponder, but like you say, that is a bit of like a spiral, a cycle that will prevent you from moving past it. So just realize it hurts, realize mistakes are made, and in that process you grow. There was a point I wanted to make, which is that it's slipped my mind. How during this sort of turmoil, because victims or people struggling, they're looking outwards for answers. There comes a point when you realize that the answers are inside you. So the feelings of, for example, like a betrayal, you might start to realize that you feel angry with yourself for, in a sense, betraying yourself, which led to the secondary betrayal, if that makes sense.
Well, that's pretty deep, Billy. I think that anybody going through this probably isn't going to go that deep. I think that it's just best to stick with the basics. Heal your body, heal your mind. Like the Greeks say, so goes the body, so goes the mind. That's, I knew that was the very first thing that I was going to have to do, was to heal my body. I was killing myself, smoking, 3 packs of cigarettes a day.
Yeah.
And anyways, after I got my body, going in the right direction, then all of a sudden I realized that my mind started going in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, it can be a little bit like a chicken and egg kind of thing.
Yeah,
Sometimes getting your mind straight makes your body respond.
Yeah.
But yeah, and as a side note, cognitive dissonance on its own will wreak havoc on your body.
Sure.
Yeah. Another thing that might help as well with moments of anger, the betrayal, frustrations and so on, and the kind of being perplexed as why people are doing the things that they're doing, is just to remind yourself that we are human, and as such we have needs. And so a lot of the motivation is simply people following their needs, including people like Beth. She has needs, whatever they may be, and she's just trying to fulfill them how she sees best fit. So in that sense, it takes the morality out of it. There isn't really a right or wrong or good or bad. It's just, we're just people, we have needs, and as a result, it makes us have vulnerabilities. And that's not a weakness. When you become responsible for those vulnerabilities, you will learn that it's actually a strength, and it's what makes you human.
Well, I wish her and Viper the very best.
Yeah. Because as you would wish yourself the best, there's no need for people, even if they've done us harm, because like you pointed out, you've done harm to other people.
Yes.
So we're all just struggling, we're all just trying to meet our needs, and we're all just trying to live a life. So no one's really better than anyone else in that sense. This isn't a competition like how you were feeling it was at one point, and that is one of the differences. But even then, don't let that go to your head as if like that means I'm better than them, because I don't see life as a competition. It's just how people see things.
Yeah, and I'll say this also to Beth, if she's listening now or listening later, just stop it. Look, you ran off with Viper. How can you get more revenge on me for anything that I may or may not have done to you? I mean, that's you already got your revenge. You won. There's no need to keep going on. There really isn't. And I really would sincerely implore you, to think about that. You already got your revenge. You're not going to be able to top that one. Okay. No matter what you do, you're not going to be able to top it. That hurt, Beth. That hurt deeply. Okay. And it's probably going to take me many years to get over it. Okay. And to struggle with it, to come to terms with it. I mean, you caused, anytime something like that happens, it's you feel a sense of inadequacy, like you're not good enough. I mean, if you wanted to kick me and right in the the keister there and knock me down on the ground. I mean, you succeeded. I mean, you won. You don't have to do anything more. Let's just live our lives. And try to be the best versions of ourselves that we could be. And give me a chance to recover, for goodness sake.
Rusty Hemi said something I actually agree with. It will only stop when they feel you are destroyed, Rusty. Be real. Yeah, that's her goal. I mean, the more you're doing well, the more it's going to bother her and encourage her to. Which sucks, because ultimately it's going to end up in her demise. But
it depends on the kind of person we're talking about. But
she's a crazy, super psychotic fucking bitch, Billy.
So it won't ever, even if Rusty was destroyed, it won't even stop, even beyond his grave.
No, because she's a feminist, and smashing the patriarchy is all. That's her objective.
Yeah,
so it's going to be man to man to man, destroy men all her life.
But this is where, as part of your boundaries that you should be forming and attending to, you'll be like, well, this is a decision. You're old enough to make your decisions. And if this is the way you want to go, a path of self-destruction, who am I to prevent you from doing that? You have the right to destroy yourself if you want to. Yeah, it might sound cruel. You don't want to see people going down that road. You can try and advise them, but you can't. There's not you'd be stepping over the line if you're going to start now trying to control her life and prevent her doing the things that she's chosen she wants to do. And by allowing that, you hand her over. In a sense, to us, it would be a gift. I'm giving you the gift of responsibility. You make your own choices in life now. You're now grown up. But depending on the kind of person you're dealing with, they probably won't like that gift. That's probably the gift they're trying to get you to be responsible for.
Well, there's going to be lots of male collateral damage in her path of self-destruction, for sure. And that's why I kind of feel bad for Viper.
Again, you've got to respect the boundaries at that. Once you have the knowledge, and Rusty pretty much has it, you've got to respect those boundaries now. It's not up to anyone really to intervene, and Sonic Viper has to make his own decisions. One glimmer of hope you could have is if you as a victim or recipient manage to kind of wake up, then there's chance for other people. So Viper probably already is aware, but now he has the next problem, which is, what does he do about it?
The escape from her clutches.
So and that kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place or dilemma is, from what I see, quite a common thing in the manosphere community. A lot of people are stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
They hate women, but at the same time they can't get anywhere near them, so they retreat into the manosphere for safety. But the safety is that it suffocates them, it denies them, it provides provides protection, but denies them life. So what do? They want to go out in the world, but they're frightened of it at the same time.
I don't know, Billy. I've been all around the manosphere, and I've yet to come across a man that actually hates women. I mean, really extremely disliking the crazy bitch that did them wrong, I've seen. But hate women as a whole, I don't know about that.
You want a bitter truth?
Mm-hmm.
They probably hate themselves more.
Yeah.
Self-hate. So no, they don't hate women. That's not the problem. The problem is these guys have a lot of self-hate.
Women made them hate themselves.
Right. So basically low self-esteem.
Yes.
You know. And, you know, it will explain, for example, patterns of why they all congregate, why they all huddle together, high-fiving each other, saying bros and loyalty and things like that. It's nothing to feel embarrassed or ashamed about. Again, remind ourselves we're trying to fill our needs. And the need is we didn't feel loved. We didn't feel accepted. And this is why we look at women and maybe seek their approval, seek their validation, seek just to be seen and recognized, to know that we exist and we matter. So deep, painful stuff. And we mask all this by having things like these silly battles and fights over wrenches or something. But thanks to people like Rusty, this will help bring these types of conversations to the forefront and hopefully allow people to be a bit more honest with themselves primarily. So I'd like to thank you again, Rusty, sir. I'll jump off now. So I've taken up enough of your time.
Good to talk with you, Billy.
You too, sir. And
Thank
thank
you,
you,
Billy.
GM, for having me up. Have a good night.
Thank you. You too. Well, it takes a lot of courage to be honest and admit, confess their sins. I mean, you said you were a Christian. I believe you. There's a lot of Christian and Bible thumper type people that I've come across that I'm like, no, you're not what you would proclaim to be as a Christian. Like, I don't know, something with the male ego. What is up with the male ego?
Oh yeah, I know. I fight against mine all the time. You know, well, I can tell you this: it's easier to deal with when you're sober.
Well, there's some sober people I see out there that have the biggest fucking ego and will never admit to be wrong.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so terribly flawed, and but I'm perfectly flawed. You know, I'm exactly the way that the Lord made me. You know, and I'm going to stumble and I'm going to fall, and you know, at least He provided me a way out. You know, to get back up.
Yeah. So you're enjoying going to church? Is it going to be a common thing now?
Probably not. But I did enjoy visiting. I have a lot of disagreements with the modern day Christian church. Mostly because I'm a translator, you know, ancient Latin, ancient Greek, and you know, I spent many a year, you know, studying in translations and stuff like that, and you know, like for example, you know, in the original ancient Hebrew text, you know, the word hell never appeared; it was Sheol, you know, which Sheol gets translated into English either into grave or hell or the pit, you know. But in the ancient Hebrews always translated it correctly, Sheol, you know. There's lots of interesting things about translation and things that that cause me to question. And you know, we got a lot of mythologies, modern day mythologies that are still with us, like you know. A lot of modern day Christians believe that a really super duper good person, when they die, they become angels.
Really?
You know, yeah. Another big difference between me and the modern day Christian church is that I actually believe what Paul wrote in the Bible, and it's there. It's in their Bible too. You know, the King James Bible version, which most of them subscribe to, you know, and that is, you know, when we die, we're dead. You know, Christ himself says, you know, in the Bible, no man hath ascended unto the Father except for the one that is standing before you now. Even King David has not ascended into heaven, for he lieth asleep with his fathers. Yep. You see, if we all went to heaven or we all went to hell when we took our last breath on this planet, what would be the purpose of Christ coming back?
So everybody's like on pause.
Sleeping. That
Okay.
is what Paul says.
Okay.
Yep. And he describes the second coming of Christ. You know, when Christ returns, all the dead shall rise, and Jesus Christ's judgment will be put into the earth.
Mm.
You know, and that includes Socrates. And we're told that every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess that Jesus Christ is the Lord. And you see, in the original Greek, we know that this is a voluntary action because the ancient Greek language is so precise. You see, like, for example, in English, you know, which is basically a Germanic language, but 3/4 of our vocabulary is ancient Latin and Greek. But in English, I can say, I love my mother. I love my truck. I love my Harley Davidson. I love my wife. I love my girlfriend, et cetera, et cetera. It's the same verb,
Right.
the same word. But you see, in Greek, if they're talking about erotic romantic love, they would use the word eros. If they were talking about brotherly love, they would use the word philo. You know, or the highest form of love, agape. You know, Greek is so precise that's why, you know, translation is just, I just love it, you know.
Yeah.
You know, reading something that has been translated into a different language is like kissing a girl through a pillowcase. You're just not getting the real thing.
Right. JR said, I hope I never come back to this world. This is hell. See, the way I always kind of looked at the Bible, I never really believed in like heaven, hell stuff, but I could see why following the principles of Christ, quote unquote, would make your life better.
Sure. Absolutely.
Like, and I always thought that people would be nicer to each other on earth today if they didn't believe there was an afterlife. Like if this was all that you had, like this is your one shot of living a good life. Like, do you want to live in hell or do you want it to be good? Like, I don't know. There's just so much in religion that I've never liked the way people use it.
Yeah, it's been a horrible tool throughout history, you know.
Yeah.
But it has its high points and it has its good points, you know, along the way as well too. It's like everything else, you know.
Yeah. Well, what's the plan? What's the plan for unfucking what these crazy bitches have done to you guys?
Take it day by day.
Yeah.
You know, concentrate on doing your best. Try to help somebody out. Do good.
Yeah.
Be responsible.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you see any reconciliation between the men that didn't seem to have a problem with each other 2 years ago? Before all this crazy bitches infected y'all's space and got y'all fighting and
yeah, absolutely. I you know, I have hope. You know, yeah, just like you know, like this video right here. You know, maybe bullets might see it and say, you know, man, maybe we ought to give this a whirl. You know, let's see what we could do.
yeah.
Yeah, you know personally that, you know, I have tried to reach out to Kush a time or two to, you know, try to bury the hatchet. I think he took it the wrong way. Maybe I presented it the wrong way. I don't know. Want to try again?
Well, it does take two to resolve.
Hey, now listen, this is all I got to say, and I'm talking to you two gentlemen specifically. If I could forgive you guys for that drag show stuff, you guys certainly should be able to forgive me.
Yeah, but how did they get the drag show stuff? And why was she recording you so early in your relationship?
You know, GM, I don't know why, but
I know why.
I don't have the answers, but I could tell you of some observations. If you watch that video, as short as it is, you'll notice that I'm all the way in the back. I was not nowhere near that stage, but she was. And she had to turn all the way around to film me by myself, in the back. And I don't know why she did that. It's almost like she was like taking out an insurance policy, because she knew, at that time, she knew that, my involvement with the manosphere, she knew that my friends would just absolutely have a heart attack if they saw me inside of a drag show.
Right.
And she held on to that video all this time. I don't know. I don't want to use the word blackmail, or maybe a better word is leverage. Maybe she had some fears, and she was acting on those fears. I don't know. I probably never will know why she did that.
I know why she did it. But you did look uncomfortable in that video.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I don't remember it, but I saw myself. It's like, damn.
Yeah. Yeah, Amber Heard did do something similar to Depp. See, when you're a feminist and you have a feminist agenda, any chance to separate you from your friends is going to be an opportunity for her. So any kind of, what you said, leverage? Yeah. I think it's part of a abuse tactic to isolate you from your friends.
Well, if we could just let bygones be bygones and just go forward from here, there's no animosity. There's hurt feelings. I'm not calling hurt feelings animosity. I think they're two different things. I'm not actively. I don't actively want to see any harm or anything negative. Keep going with this, and I certainly am not doing it. I mean, yeah, I've had an explosive response to a couple of different things, and I've called their names and stuff like that, and she said, just as terrible things about me, it's like both parties are guilty. I just don't know why at this point we just can't treat this like just a regular breakup. You go your way, I go my way, and let's just both live our best lives. Obviously, she rejected me. Her attraction level, fell, and I'm not going to try to explain the rest of it. It is what it is, and I have to deal with it, and I'm dealing with it as best as I can.
Well, that's a very adult thing to say, Rusty. Well, is there anything else you would like to share before we wrap this up?
No, not at this time.
Okay. Thank you for coming up and sharing some knowledge on the Bible.
Well, that's my pleasure. I mean, I know a little bit. I certainly don't know it all. I'm constantly learning.
Yeah, when you mentioned that the Greek, the different types of love, it reminded me. Have you ever seen Blood of Zeus, that anime?
It's so funny you should mention that. I have been watching it.
Yes, it's good. Have you been through season 2?
I just started season 2, but let me make a comment.
Yeah.
The turmoil between Zeus and Hera.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That, wow.
Yeah.
It just goes to show you hell hath no fury than a woman scorned.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. I mean, part of me watching that was like, I mean, she's got a point there. I mean, he's literally cheating on her, but at the same time, I'm like, wait, no, the gods. Those are brother and sister. They're married. Should I be mad that he's trying to mate outside of incestuous relationship? Like, I was really trying to.
Yeah, but towards the end there, his sincere apology, he telling her, "Hey, this is it. Okay, all right, I screwed up. I'm not going to do it again." I think he was being sincere.
Yeah. Well, so how far have you gotten in season 2?
I just started the very first one.
Okay, so there is a good episode where they're judging. So Zeus's son and brother, right? Oh, what's his name? I forget his name. The guy with the scar and the horn and.
Oh no, that's the young man. That's Zeus's son's brother.
Brother, yeah.
Yes.
So he's in the underworld and he's getting judged for his actions.
Okay.
And there's a specific part in there where it's like he's getting judged and they're like, well, okay, yeah, you did this and you did this. And it's the, what is the
scales?
The weight, the scales, yeah. And they're bringing up all this terrible shit that he's done. And they mentioned, but you weren't alone in these actions.
Right.
And because Hera was fucking manipulating him. So they judged him less harshly for all the crimes that he did.
Like killing his own mother.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't know it was his mother.
Exactly.
Yeah. No,
and
that was all Hera.
Yes,
she did.
She blew that cloak.
Yes, she did. That crazy bitch. No, that's so good. That's so good. The end of it, we'll have to reconvene after the final episode because it's really, really good.
Yeah. Well, I'm also watching what's it? House of Dragon. The prequel to Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, how is it?
Yeah. Oh God, it is so good.
It's good.
It's great.
Really? I'll have to check it out.
Yeah.
I'll have to check it out.
Okay.
All right. Well, should we say our goodbyes to the chat?
Okay. I can't see the chat, so anybody in there that said hi to me, I couldn't see you. So I'm saying hi now and goodbye, and God bless everyone.
You got Billy, Hemi Force Speed, Freebird, JW. I don't know who JW is. But JR, of course. JR is the bouncer. Shane, good to see you guys.
Yeah.
All right, Billy. Thank you. All right, everybody. Till next time.
Okay. Good night, GM.
Good night.
Bye-bye.